Oh, come on, son. Jeez. Oh. What's up all you cool snakes and neonates? How's it going? I hope you're all keeping well. We've got an awesome video for you today. Hunter here is getting an upgrade and we have a super exciting announcement to make, and that is that we have our first official sponsor. Believe it or not, guys. I know some of you guys have donated, some of you guys have given to the channel, but this is our first official company sponsor. That sponsor is Rembrandt Timber. The awesome guys here have agreed to sponsor this video by supplying premium grade plywood. They have supplied us with the best plywood they have. It is actually really good stuff. You guys are always asking where we get our wood from, how we build our vivs. Well, Rembrandt Timber is the answer. Even if you're not building a viv, if you're building stuff for around the house, you need any form of wood, timber. If you're renovating your kitchen, your bathroom, your house, you guys want to head to Rembrandt Timber. They have a fantastic selection of wood. Loads and loads, just wood as far as the eye can see. These guys have it all. Their customer service on top of that is absolutely fantastic. They've been on the ball. They've went above and beyond from the moment I've contacted them, from the moment I phoned them. They have been absolutely fantastic. So easy to deal with. Such a welcoming bunch. A really good team and a really good run workshop. These guys are awesome. I highly recommend you guys, if you need any form of timber for any form of job, head down to Rembrandt Timber. If you want to contact Rembrandt Timber, check in the description below. There will be links to any way you can contact them through the website, their phone numbers, or their Facebook page. These guys are really good and they will get back to you quickly. They worked together with us on this one, figuring out what wood would be best for Hunter's viv, what wood would be best for the humidity, all that sort of requirements. These guys asked all the right questions and they have went above and beyond. So there we go, guys. Head over to Rembrandt Timber if you have any timber needs. Oh, what an excitement. So Rembrandt Timber have been kind enough to donate their premium wood to help build Hunter here a better enclosure. Now this isn't going to be his permanent enclosure. There are going to be future projects that we hope Rembrandt Timber are going to get involved in, and one of those will be to build Hunter here a giant enclosure in the living room, and I'm going to integrate Shelley's tub in there, Shelley's pond, so he's actually going to get a giant enclosure with a pond and everything in it. So this is just a step up until certain animals get shifted about. Once we shift Shelley out, then we can get started making this guy a giant enclosure. But this step up here is going to help him out massively, and it's going to be a good forever enclosure for Ruby, our Suriname red-tailed boa as well. So let's get into some building. Right, so now we have got this wood here. Next step we need to do is prep it for painting. So we're going to need to cut or drill any bits out that we're going to want to cut or drill out. So we're going to cut out the vents first. So I'm using 4 vents. What I've done to figure out exactly where I want to place my vents is take the overall length of the wood and divide it by 5. You'll get the correct space between the holes for putting your vents in. Then we need to file all the edges with a file, get them all nice and smooth so there's no splinters that's going to hurt your hands. And then I need to cut a section out the top of the wood at each side, a little square, so that we can get any cables for heating and things like that in through the top. And then one last thing to do would be to drill a hole for the thermostat coming in, and where the thermostat is going to go, which I always like to drill sort of above the substrate line, so it's just poking in and it's going to sit on top of the substrate, and it'll give you a good reading of temperature for the basking spot of the animal. So let's get into it. Now, The vents are cut out, parts are cut out for all the electrical cables, edges are all sanded off, and there is the hole there for the probe for the thermostat. So this section is already done. Let's get the rest of them done, and then let's get on to varnishing the wood. The wood has all been wiped down, so there's no grit or dust on it. We've got yacht varnish, is what I've chosen to use. It's what's sort of recommended. Because it's yacht varnish, it's supposed to be friendly to aquatic wildlife, it's supposed to be friendly to wildlife. Because this is the premium marine grade wood, it is sort of waterproof anyway. Usually you would treat the wood first, but a lot of the treatments for the wood are not safe for the reptiles. With this being the marine grade plywood, it should be pretty good just to put this yacht varnish straight on. But I'm not sure if we've got really lucky here or if this is how the marine grade comes, but this is coming a beautiful sort of white colouring, which is going to be fantastic because reptiles change their colours to go with their enclosures. So with this being a lovely light wood, it's going to bring out whatever animal goes in here. It'll be hunter first, and then eventually it will be Ruby, the female red-tailed boa. Both animals will look stunning in a nice bright enclosure with their colours brought out really vibrant. So I'm glad we've got this sort of white colour, this really pale coloured wood. It's going to be really awesome for the animals. So let's get some varnish on it. So that's the wood. It's had 3 coats, it's been drying for a couple of days, so let's get it inside and get that Viv built. So the first thing we need to do is move Shelby out. Not a decision that I'm happy with. It's only for a couple of weeks, but we need to put her, and she's going in already, we need to put her in this 4 foot by 1 foot enclosure. She's going to look huge in here. This is only for a couple of weeks, because not only do we have to build Hunter a new enclosure, but when we take Hunter out, his humidity has actually eaten into the plywood of the old 6 foot enclosure. We have a 6 foot snake and a 4 foot Viv. Not ideal, but it's only for a couple of weeks because we need to repair the enclosure that she's going to be going into, because Hunter of course is going into what is now her enclosure, is about to be made into the 6 foot. So we need to pop her in here temporarily. This was just a 4 foot Viv I picked up for free. It was like a month old or 2 months old. I've sealed it all up so it's all siliconed around the bottom. It's actually a beautiful Viv. When Shelby comes out of here in a couple of weeks time and goes into her 6 foot Viv, Ruby the Suriname red-tailed boa, this will be a good upgrade size for her, so she'll go in here. But yeah, this is only temporary. That light's just for quick viewing purposes right now while I'm filming. It's just a house light I rigged up for her. So yeah, this isn't ideal, but it's only for a couple of weeks, Shelby, and then you'll be in a giant 6 foot enclosure, which will be your forever home. Because this MDF Viv is way too heavy, that's why I always build it plywood. It seems to be a bit lighter. This is way too heavy for me to be lifting on my own, so I'm going to dismantle it up here and take it down piece by piece. The only bit we're going to reuse from this Viv are the sides, because the sides are going to stay exactly the same. Top, back, bottom and front, and there's going to need to be a little bit put in the side so that the glass doors fit in, are going to be reused. The glass runners are going to be temporarily reused as well. I can't seem to find new runners. The 6 foot ones that clip onto the wood, I can't find them anywhere for 6mm glass. So we're just going to temporarily reuse these runners until I can source different ones and new ones for it. No wonder I ripped my finger through to the bone when I lifted that whole thing when it was downstairs. If you guys remember that, hit me up in the comments below, because that was quite a while ago. Oh, I'm going to have to run a blade along that and cut that. That speaks volumes for the HA6 silicone sealer I use. So I had a look at my spare gear, and it turns out I don't have a spare thermostat to build multiple enclosures right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to build this one up here. I'm not going to put the top on it so that I can seal it. I can get an idea of exactly what size of little add-on bit I'm going to need for this end, because the glass isn't going to be the full length of the Viv. There's going to be a gap at the end, so I need to figure out exactly what size of wood I need to cut to plug that hole at the end, and I'm going to put a vent in there too. It's also, I'm on my own, so it's easier if I build up here too, because I can just slide the wood around and get into each end and each side and things like that. And then in a couple of days to a week's time, once I'm ready to put Hunter in, we'll shift the vivs around, I'll put the top on it, put all the stuff in it, and it'll all be done in one day, and Hunter will go in it on the same day. First bolt of many into the new build. First screw of many. Like a glove! So it's all tacked in place now. There's only a couple of screws that hold it in place so we can see exactly, so that I know everything is flush, it's all smooth, there's no bits that are sticking out or nothing like that. So now I'm going to go around it all and really bolt it together and make sure it's not going to move. It's actually already solid with just about 2 screws in each side, but yeah, we're going to pop about, I would say about 3 in each section so that everything is bolted in. This will have about 5 screws, 1 in each side, 3 in the middle, just to make sure everything is super bolted together, because it's a very heavy bodied snake that's going in here, Hunter the Burmese python, and then it's going to be an even heavier bodied snake, the red-tailed boa, that will be going in here after him as well when she's big enough and ready to breed. So yeah, this viv here needs to be super strong because there are some super strong snakes going in it. Cup of water. I always make it look warm, I don't know if it makes any difference. And then make a nice curved edge with some wet kitchen roll and run your finger down the edge. Sealing up any cracks, crevices, gaps that may allow moisture in or anything like that, or which would hopefully we never get, but mites and things like that also can hide in the cracks and crevices and gaps in between your wood, so can prevent that too. Now we have a nice perfect clean seal all the way along. Nice one, all the way around, even around this pole. Oh, I need to tidy that up. There you go, even around that pole. Woo. Stuff stinks. And of course all the windows and things like that are wide open while I'm doing all this stuff. Letting all the fumes out. Doors are open, windows are open, everything is wide open. Letting all the fumes out of here. Don't care about myself, but I care about the animals, and I don't want the animals inhaling all of this fumes. So I've marked out where I want these runners to go, so I'm going to now seal these on. I've decided just to use the old runners anyway, try not to waste too much, and of course funds are a little low. If I manage to find new runners for it, we'll pop them on, but I think it's going to be just fine just with these runners. The glass is 6mm toughened glass. I have literally dropped it from 3 vivs up from about 6 foot of height, and it's fallen, bounced off the ground and battered against Alita's viv before and not smashed, cracked or broken. So this is really tough glass. Hunter's not really going to be able to push it or bend it, so I think we should be pretty safe with just using these runners. So the glass is only going to overhang the runner by about 2 inches, I think it is, so it's not going to be terribly much. Also, leaving a gap at the end of your runners is really handy, because I clean my runners out with a toothbrush, so it's really handy because when you're cleaning the runners out with the toothbrush, it means that you can sweep it off back into the viv and not have to flick it and muck about with it and things like that. So yeah, let's seal these in. shelb this is becoming. The reptile room has been an absolute mess for about 2 weeks. It's actually taken its toll on me a little bit because I can't get in to spend all the time that I like to spend with the animals, because there's tools everywhere. I can't let like a hunter down on the ground to have a wander about like he normally does and things like that, for fear of him touching things that he shouldn't be touching and even hurting himself. So the reason this has taken so long is that the varnish has actually taken about 2 weeks to become, for the smell to disappear. It's about 2 weeks actually to the day. I would ideally like to leave it a couple more days, but it seems to be pretty good. We've been fanning it out, circulating the air through it, and of course the heat's helped with it. So it seems pretty good now. The smell's pretty much gone. The varnish is all solid, so that's good. So what we're going to do now is we're going to shift the vivs around. So basically that one's going to go down there and the bottom one is going to go up. So you're basically swapping the top and bottom one, is what the plan is. And how we're going to do that is basically, I'm going to pull this top one down on the floor, the two 6-foots that are stacked underneath, I'm going to pop them up on their ends, slide the 5-foot back in, and then pop them back down in the correct order that we want them in. But of course the top has to come off Hunter's enclosure to get his heat radiator out, to pop it into here, switch all the gear around as well. The feet from Hunter's Viv, the big long battens that I've got on the bottom are going to go on the bottom of his new Viv here, which is going to be on the floor, so that's going to have to be on its back. There's going to be some fiddling about. Let's get shifting them about and let's get Hunter into his new enclosure. Alright, so this is the stage we're at here. The new enclosure is face down. I'm going to bolt the feet on it. You can see these beams here, so that's going to keep it off the floor just a little bit more. There's some humping and hoeing. The tops come off, all the electronics, Hunter's electronics are out, the Shelby's are going in it. I figured out that drills and beards could be quite deadly, because I just about ripped my beard off there with the drill. So yeah, keep your beards in check if you're drilling, guys. It is hot here in the animal room, summertime. I'm sweating. Got this fan on me here. Whoa, right. Update. Got these feet on. You can see these long parts here. So it's just going to raise that bottom Viv up just quite a bit. So that's the bottom feet are on. I'm taking the feet off of the other one in the middle. So we're not going to have feet between the 6 foot. So it's just going to be the feet on the bottom ones. So we're ready now just to pick this one up, pick it over, tip that one back, slide it back in. Let's go. Look at my animal room. So this is how it's going. So now we're going to roll that back over on its back, slide it in place, and then we can get all the electronics in it, bolt the roof on it and stuff like that, and then basically pull these back over on top. Kirsten hiding in the corner there so she's not in shot. So it's back in position. Electronics are sitting where they're just sitting there. So what we're going to do is we're going to put the top on it, but we're not going to bolt it on. So I'm going to put the top on it and then I'm going to put the glass in. Then I'm going to push the glass all the way out so that I know that that edge there is going to be completely flat and flush with the glass, and then bolt the roof on so that it sits perfectly level with the glass. And they are up and in order. Woohoo! Look at that. So much more room for activities. So you can see where that tree took up so much space in there, that he has a lot more in there now, just by an enclosure without that tree. As much as that is a cool little part in there, it's going to be much better in there. But I am going to pop this branch in there for him to climb on. So let's go. So it's finally done, guys. I'm sweating. I had to change to my shorts and everything. I cannot wait for a nice cold shower after this one. It's not pleasant working in this animal room in these temperatures, that's for sure. It's like 24, 25 degrees in this animal room right now, at least. Well, that's what the temperature says, but it feels more like 32. So, it's finished! It's actually finished! Can't believe it. We've got the ventilations. I've put more ventilation in this so it would circulate. You've got the big vents up the back, and then I've put small vents down the bottom at the front, so all the air is going to circulate through. Going to get all that excess humidity and moisture that was creating mould in the old Viv. It's going to get rid of all that, and hopefully we're not going to have a bit of a mould problem. It wasn't a bad problem, but just every couple of months I had to give it a wipe down because it was starting to get a little bit fluffy. So now, hopefully, this is going to be a lot better. So let's pop our big man out. Hello, handshomes! Did you not appreciate being locked in there for a while? Did you not? He's coming in the shed, so he's a bit testy, but he's going to love going in here and checking out his new digs. You can see he's going in the shed, his belly's starting to go a bit pink there. His colour's a bit darker than normal, but this is all going to be new for me. And there you go, son. Oh. He's like, whoa, what is this smell? Now he'll still get the smell of the varnish off of this, but it's not going to be anywhere near as bad as when it was hard. This has been curing for about 2 weeks, so this should be fine. There's a tiny whiff of it, but I would imagine the next couple of days it will be completely gone. But he's definitely smelling it there. Look at that. His mind is going. This is a new smell. What is this? It's got some new bedding in there too. That branch is completely new. That was actually donated to us for a while ago when we got a 6-foot arboreal viv. So everything in there right now is going to have new smells for him. He's going to be in sensory overload right now. But yeah, looking at him in that viv, it's already looking a lot better size for him. It's not going to be his permanent viv, but it's going to keep him going for a year or two until we can get something sorted out with Shelley. Get some pennies saved up, or see if we can get another partnership or sponsorship, and see if we can build Shelley a new enclosure and then get Hunter a giant enclosure built downstairs in the living room. I mean, this is already a big enclosure. This is 6 foot by 3 foot by 3 foot. This is a big enclosure. It's good size. It just shows that Hunter is also a good size. I may cut some extra bits off the branches. I'm a bit worried about him getting stuck between these bits here. He can get through there, but if he fell down into there, and I've already hit my head off of this bit of the branch back here, so I think I'm going to cut this branch off, and I think I'm going to cut this little section here off, just to make it safer for Hunter and for myself. But yeah, he's got that branch and everything in there. I'm wanting to get a UV light in there. I want to get UV lights in all of the animals, even the snakes eventually. I want every animal to have UV. They don't necessarily need it, but it will benefit them, that's for sure. And this is a beautiful light viv now. This wood is beautiful, so it's going to bring out Hunter's colours really nicely. Give him a next shed and give him a few weeks and his colours will settle in. He's going to look gorgeous. What is that, my handsome man? Eh? You've got a friend in there, you've got a fly in there. Oh, he sees the branches. Whoa, this is new as well. Yeah, that's a good size for him actually, it's not too bad now. A lot happier with him in there. It's crazy, they were both 6 by 3 floor space, but that tree took up half the viv and he's got more headroom now. He's never actually been able to climb before, so this is probably going to be a bit of a novelty for him. I have rounded all the sticks and all the bits and bobs, if you notice on all the bits sticking up, I've rounded them all off with a file so none of them are sharp. So he's not going to impale himself on anything, or he shouldn't. He's not daft, he's actually a gentle lad, so he looks fantastic in there. He looks even bigger in there, doesn't he? He actually looks bigger in there. Are you giving your new branch a cuddle? See, I can itch my head on this stick. Sometimes when he's out he'll rub his head on things like a cat. I've noticed that. He was doing it on that viv the other day. He's like nestling into it. And so there we go. After about 2.5, 3 weeks of building, trial and error, tears and all that stuff, we finally have Hunter in his new enclosure. It wasn't actually that bad. It was just the amount of time it took for the varnish to dry. That's why I've not been very active on the channel, is because I've been busy with this and there's been stuff going on in the reptile rich life. So I've got stuff going on there too. So not been that busy, but we will resume regular videos and all that kind of stuff very soon. Very, very soon actually. We'll get right on it. But with getting this new wood, it's kick-started a ton of other projects here in the reptile rich room, so there isn't just this going on, it's kickstarted loads as well, so it's a ticking time for some of the things as well. The time's ticking on some of the stuff, but Look at that Viv, isn't that beautiful? Now, I must reiterate, this is not his permanent home. This is actually the bare minimum of what he should have. This is not going to be his permanent house. This is going to be Ruby the Suriname Redtail's permanent house when she's big enough. But this is just a holding cell basically for Hunter before we manage to build him a big enclosure downstairs in the living room where there's a lot more space, but we need to sort something out with Shelley first. So yeah, we need to, there's loads of stuff that needs to happen, but this will do him for now. He's got more space, loads more space in there than he did up there. The funny thing is it's the same floor space. It's still a 6x3, but in that old Viv, like I mentioned, there was that big foam tree, and combined with his water bowl, it literally took up about a third of the Viv. So basically, he really only had about access to about 4x3 or 5x3 squared kind of thing. So this is basically, he's got an extra foot by 3 squared, and he's got an extra foot height as well. He's got that branch to go on. It's pretty basic just now. I do not like my enclosures being basic like this. I'm not the best at making them look pretty, but for a Hunter, it was floor space was the biggest thing for me just now, just giving him room to stretch out. I'm probably going to put a shelf or something, it's just extra detail, some more stuff for him to climb on and things like that in there. The radiator wasn't enough to heat this Viv, which is something I figured would be the case, so I've put the radiator and a ceramic heat bulb in there, run through the thermostat to get the heat up and to get him a basking spot. And because of the size he's getting anyway, he should really have 2 basking sources, 2 heat sources to cover his big body kind of thing, because as you can see, if you were just to use that, it wouldn't really give his whole body heat. So you've got the radiator in there, which keeps it a better ambient temperature, and the ceramic, which gives him a better basking spot. So heat wise, that's better. Space wise, it's better. It's doing fantastic for him. You'll see the vents aren't looking very great. Hunter used all of his strength and popped them out. I didn't seal them in good enough, so I've taped up the back of them and I've resealed them in. So he couldn't get out of them, as you can see. They're not big enough for his chubby bum, but he did manage to pop them out. So I'm giving that like a week to properly harden the sealer, and then I'm going to cut off all that extra stuff you see there, and then take the tape off the back, and those vents will be functioning again. But for now, he's a naughty boy, looking at me right now like butter wouldn't melt in his mouth. But yeah, the temperature in there is actually a lot better for me, having a lot more ventilation and a lot more room in there. Humidity is really good, so it's doing fantastic, isn't it, my handsome man? Oh, you're awake to these. So he's just going into the shed, so he's not exactly handsome right now. But there we go. Hunter has a fantastic new Viv. So guys, I hope you all enjoyed that. Let me know in the comments below if you did. Let me know your thoughts. Thank you very much to Rembrandt Timber for sponsoring this video. That is super exciting and fantastic. I look forward to working with Rembrandt on future projects. That's going to be good, guys. Keep an eye out for that. Show Rembrandt Timber some love any way you can. Head over to their Facebook page. All the links for Rembrandt will be in the links description below. So head over to their Facebook page. Just say something in the comments. Just show them some love, guys. Thank them for supplying the wood and delivering it to my door for this build. What an awesome bunch. Yeah, as always, you can subscribe to the channel through my ugly mug right there. There will be a playlist for you right there, and there'll be a random video selected for you right there. From me, Hunter, and the rest of the gang. Take it easy, guys. Peace.